Sometimes I like to come up with a very controversial name for the stream. I titled this one, Gaddafi got done wrong, man. Gaddafi did get done wrong, though. Oh. Ow. Kitty! Kitty, 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 kitty. You like the words. You like it when I give you words. Why are your eyes as big as quarters? Why are his eyes as big as quarters? Okay, kid. You go over there now. Okay. I can go. Tons! Tons! Tons. Tons. Sounds like a German name. Tons. Yeah, my name is Tons. Is your name Tons as well? Yeah. Oh, both our names are Tons. Oh my god. No way. You're actually Austrian. Oh, well. I feel like a little bit of a douchebag now, but what are you going to do? Sprache nicht kleine Deutsch. Hello, hello. Or in the theme of our conversation so far, hallo. Gute Nacht. No, I don't play Fortnite. Do I look like the kind of person that plays Fortnite? Do I look like I'm 14? Or do I... Well, okay, actually, you know what? There's another kind of person that plays Fortnite, but I'm not going to mention that kind of person, because you know what? Maybe you could make an argument that I kind of look like, but you know what? No. What's the meaning of life? Not going to lie. The meaning of life is that there is no meaning of life. There is none. The idea that there is an illusion. The pursuit of such can be fun, but is ultimately pointless because it's a doomed endeavor. It's an endeavor that can never lead you to any fruit because the universe is not a place that equips us with the tools necessary to determine any possible meaning. And the nature of our existence kind of precludes there being a meaning to life, right? We are a product of evolution, right? So in a sense, you could say the meaning of life is that which reproduces. The meaning of life, I think, is pretty obvious, like the definition. But I think when people say the meaning of life, they're talking about what does it all mean? What is it all going for? What's the point of all this? Which to me is a different question. But oh, a War Thunder player in here. That's cool. I also play War Thunder. Where do you think you will go after you pass away? I don't think I'll go anywhere. I think I'll go into a pine box, roughly 6 feet by 2.5 feet wide, And I think I'll go into an incineration oven. They'll turn my body in that pine box into a nice little collection of ashes that will hopefully be given to my dear beloved partner right here. And hopefully they're not too old to spread them in the Rocky Mountains somewhere. That's where I'll go when I pass away, if I have my druthers. I gotta be honest with you. I was raised a Christian, and the reason that I lost my faith was because, to me, the idea of Christianity being true was a far more terrifying idea than the idea that it's all bullshit. An eternity of anything starts to sound like hell. Yeah, I'm asking, like, why should I not kill myself right now? Well, you shouldn't kill yourself because that's not going to... well, I'm not a professional. I'm not a mental health professional. You should, if you genuinely think you're going to kill yourself or hurt yourself, you should talk to a professional by calling one of the many, like, suicide helplines that are available to people. They can be called VOIP as well. So, that said, I think the reason that people shouldn't kill themselves is because you never know what's going to happen unless you experience it. Whatever's going on right now that feels like it's so unassailable, that feels like you're never going to get past it, it's not going to go away, number one, because you kill yourself. You're just going to stop experiencing it. But that also means you'll stop experiencing all the joy and the good things in life. It means that you're never going to get the chance to see how all this turns out. Ultimately, whether there's a greater purpose or to life doesn't matter. What matters at the end of the day is, are you happy? And if you're not, there are always a number of things that you can do to move yourself in a direction that is closer to having you be happy than killing yourself. Do you believe that there's a higher power like a God? Well, I feel like it's a good thing you qualified that question, because a higher power like a God is a more specific question, right, than merely do I believe that there's a higher power, right? Do I believe that there's a higher power than human beings? Clearly there is. We live in a world full of evidence of things that are more powerful than human beings. Avalanches are more powerful than human beings. The weather, the weather cycle of the planet is more powerful than human beings. Tectonic plates theory is more powerful than human beings. It's not hard to not look at the universe through an anthropocentric lens and see a bunch of things that are higher powers than human beings. I think the real question is the question that I think you mean when you say, do I think there's a higher power? Because you specified like a God. You mean, do I think that there is a personable higher power? Do I think that there is an omnipotent person somewhere that is able to influence decisions made in the real world? No. I think that there's pretty clear evidence that says that it's not the case. Either there is no personable God, or the God's personality is so vile, so evil, so callous, so as to make it completely reprehensible to humanity. I'm a Protestantism, so you're like a specific religion? Bro. Dial 988 for help, available 24/7. Thank you. Thank you. Lutheran. I don't meet a lot of Lutherans. I live in the South, so like Catholics and Lutherans are super uncommon down here. So that's kind of cool. Okay, what does weather have to do with a God? There is only one true God. Well, what does weather have to do with a God? Weather is one of the mechanisms that God's power used to be attributed to. Before the days of the barometer, before the days of Doppler radar, people used to look at the clouds and look at the lightning and look at the flooding and say, this is a punishment from God. Now we can look at those things and know this is a punishment from our overuse of fossil fuels. No, I'm kidding. Now we can look at those storms and see these are a product of convection and a product of the water cycle. This is a product of this given natural process, right? We know for a fact that there's no divine intentionality in it anymore because we can predict it, in some cases, months out, right? That fact alone points to a world that doesn't really need a god to operate, right? Every new thing we learn about the natural world is one less place where God holds sway, one less place where God's image exists, right? Every natural law we discover is one less thing attributable to God. It's just how it is. Oh, that's because I'm from Wisconsin. Yeah, I mean, I figured you were from probably somewhere up north or the Northeast or something like that. I used to know a few Lutherans when I was living in northern Missouri, but that was the last place I had much contact with the Lutheran Church. There's a lot of evidence backing. No, there's not a lot of evidence. There's no evidence for any personifiable God like that. Like, that's just flat out not true. Give me, tell you what, you say there's lots of evidence? Give me 3 pieces of evidence. Give me 3 pieces of evidence that any God exists, let alone your God. Are you an atheist then? I used to answer that question with a very quick yes. Now, I don't know. I'm something. I'm something. I guess I'm basically an atheist, but an atheist that is increasingly open to superstitious beliefs that don't necessarily involve a god. Because I think that there are 100% natural phenomena and things that happen that don't yet have a ready explanation from science, but that I do believe will eventually be rationally explained by science, and the rational explanation that science comes up with might just be close enough to magic for it to explain perfectly and rationally a lot of the kind of supernatural phenomena that people point out and use as an example of, like, well, that's, there's got to be something more because look at that, but I think all of that stuff can probably be scientifically explained. It just hasn't yet. But I whether because I think that there's a lot of evidence or because I think that it's a fun thing to believe, there's a number of what I call supernatural beliefs that I lend at least a little bit of credence to that have nothing to do with a god. But I don't know. I feel like when people say atheist, I feel like a lot is implied by that. Now, I don't feel like a lot should be implied with that. I feel like all that Are You an Atheist should be asking is, do you believe in a God? Do you believe in a personal God? And, the answer to that is no. And in that way, yes, I'm an atheist. But in today's cultural perceptions, like with today's cultural perceptions in mind, I feel like people think atheist and they think somebody who doesn't believe in any bit of superstition, somebody who's annulled themselves against even the idea of magical thinking. And I don't consider that, I don't consider myself like completely inoculated against the idea. You're typing faster than I can read, bro. The world had changed from the beginning, and there's no proof of prehistoric time. There literally is. There's all the proof you need of prehistoric time is... Dude, this is such a fucking annoying argument because it's literally disproven by the fucking product you're typing on. Do you realize that without carbon dating, without basal rock dating, none of the technology you're using right now would be possible, and none of the power infrastructure that powers it would be working? The only reason the petroleum, and therefore plastic products and oil and coal gas and all these other things that are produced through the process of oil extraction and coal extraction, shit like that, all of that is literally done by dating rocks collected from potential sites. We know which specific types of rocks, so we know the time period in which oil formed. We know the types of rocks found near oil, the types of environments that form the types of rocks that we find near oil sites and stuff. So we know what to look for, right? And so when we've got a lead on a potential new location to drill for oil, they test the rocks in that bed as part of the testing process to see if there's actually oil down in there before they sink a shaft. They will test the rock and see, does it match up to the dates? And guess what? The dates they find are not thousands of years, they're millions of years. And if this science was not reliable and repeatable, then there would be no way for the petroleum industry to constantly suck up oil out of the earth to power gasoline engines and the like. But you don't even have to get that complex with it. You want proof of an ancient Earth? Explain Homo neanderthalis to me. Better yet, explain Homo floresiensis. Jesus. One of the more popular wars right now is Ukraine versus Russia. What do you mean popular, bro? What the hell? And a mass destruction I was talking about could stand for many things like earthquakes, hurricanes, and what? There is evidence. A thing called the Bible, which I bet you haven't touched one. Do I still have that Bible in here? No. I don't think I do I? No. I'm actually kind of a Bible collector. It's ironic you would say that. I've probably read more of the Bible than you have, but what you're doing right now is called circular reasoning, right? So what you're saying is, I believe in God, and I'm saying, what's your evidence? And you're saying, well, because the Bible. And I say, okay, well, where's your evidence that the Bible is true? Well, God said so. Well, where did he say it? Well, he said it in the Bible. So you're believing the Bible because the Bible says that it's true. Okay, well, I see your Bible and I raise you one Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings does not describe itself as a fiction book. The Lord of the Rings, according to the author and according to the Red Book of Westchester, or whatever it's called, Westminster, I think it's actually called. Anyway, according to the according to the Lord of the Rings, it is merely a historical accounting of a journey that happened in Middle-earth. And, I mean, hey, it says that it's true. It says that it's an accounting of fact. How are you going to argue with the Lord of the Rings, dude? How are you going to tell me that Gimli ain't real? How are you going to tell me that Gandalf ain't real, bro? Look, I read it in Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings says that it's true. It says that it's based off this little red book. It's no less stupid than me it's no less stupid than you telling me that the Bible is proof of anything other than that someone wrote down some shit at some point. That's all the Bible proves. All the existence of the Bible proves is that a bunch of Arabic dudes sat down and wrote some shit thousands of years ago. That's all it proves. Literally all it proves. I personally use the distinction agnostic atheist. I know what I believe, but I claim to have no knowledge for my beliefs. I know what I believe, but I claim. Oh, okay. You know what you believe, but you don't know that that belief is 100% correct. Right. I would say the same for myself. I didn't really think it would be personal. I mean, it's not personal. It's just like, if you give me a bad argument, I'm going to respond like it's a bad argument, you know? Guess who created that? God did. No, God didn't. Nothing created it. It happened as a result of natural processes. Fact number 2, for something to be the creator, it has to be created, and you cannot believe in a Big Bang because for the Big Bang to be the creator, it has to be created. No, the Big Bang does not need a creator because the Big Bang is not a creator itself. And okay, so for something to be created, it has to have a creator, okay? And a creator has to have a creator. So who was God's creator? So you literally just said, for something to be the creator, it has to be created. And you cannot believe in a Big Bang because for the Big Bang to be... Okay, so who created God then? You're literally saying in the fucking sentence you just said that God itself had to be created. You're too retarded to have this discussion. You care very passionately about beliefs that you've probably been raised up with your whole life. And this is probably the first time you've ever encountered somebody who doesn't share your beliefs and who doesn't care to kowtow to them. Starlight in and of itself is proof of deep time, yes. The fact that starlight, like, we know for a fact how far away stars are. See, this is why Christians are in an increasingly position in this world, because, well, Christians in general, this is why theists are in such a difficult place right now, because in order to believe in God, you either have to adopt an increasingly metaphorical understanding of the nature of God, or you have to put yourself in an increasingly more absurd box of non-reality. So, take the example you just said, Merrick. Stars prove deep time because we know for a fact how far away stars are. We know for a fact how long light takes to travel, even in a vacuum. We know how long it takes. And so we can use that knowledge to determine, holy shit, like, these stars are that far away. It takes this long for that light to reach here. Those stars must be at least that old. That in itself disproves the notion of a young Earth. So what does someone who believes in young Earth beliefs do? Well, either they decide, okay, well, young Earth theory clearly isn't correct. There's got to be some other understanding of God. They adopt a more metaphorical understanding of God. Or they decide, okay, well, young Earth theory has to be correct. I was raised this way. I refuse to believe something else. So the scientists are lying about the stars, right? The scientists must just be lying about the stars to all of us, collectively. Literally every scientist lying about the stars. Because if they're not lying about the stars, that means I have to change the nature of my beliefs, right? There's some people for which that is a bridge too far. The Bible, are there dinosaurs in the Bible? Bro, that's what I'm asking. Are there fucking dinos in the Bible, bro? Also, if prehistoric time wasn't a time, why is it that fossils of new species are being discovered constantly? Like, that's the fucking thing, is like, every fucking week, we don't hear about it much anymore because fossil discovery became so common in the age of increased oil exploration and the age of the internet that it kind of became rote. But new fossils are constantly being discovered. Old fossils are constantly getting updated with new parts and new findings. Every fucking week, we paint a clearer image of an ancient Earth. I'm sorry. I did not say that at all. I said, take a look in the New Testament at the end of the Bible. It talks about the last days, what's going to happen on Earth, such as chaos and mass destruction. Yeah, that's the thing, is chaos and mass destruction is a very easy prediction to make when the species that you're talking about is fucking human beings, bro. You're talking about human beings. Chaos and mass destruction, that's our fucking 200-year cycle, bro. Literally. Okay, so, like, how would you argue? Okay, you realize that the last 2,000 years of time has been filled with chaos and mass destruction, right? I'm 26 years old. In just my lifetime, there's been the Israel-Hamas conflict. There's been the Ukraine-Russia conflict, which has been, most people think that's been ongoing since 2021. No, it's actually been 2014 since, the full breadth of the modern conflict began. I saw Afghanistan began and ended during my lifetime. 9/11 happened when I was 3 or 4 years old. I would have been 3 years old. Yeah, I would have been exactly 3. Iran and Iraq and are fucking around with those countries. Syria, we've fucking fucked with Syria a whole hell of a lot during my lifetime. So I can think of 7 different armed conflicts the United States alone has been involved in over the last, I don't know, 20 years. I'm 26, so just the last 20 years, that's a bunch of different fucking armed conflicts, right? A bunch of different crazy shit. A bunch of mass destruction and chaos. And you know what didn't happen in those 20 years, bro? The fucking world ending in the rapture. It's beginning to feel like that was just maybe a prediction that Revelations threw in there because they knew it would lend credence to simple-minded people. Like, simple-minded people read Revelations and think that the fucking predictions are prescient because either they're too young to realize that history has been ongoing for a long time, or they're too stupid to realize that. And so they never, when they read those things in Revelations, they don't do what the rest of us do and roll their eyes and be like, oh man, how'd you fucking predict that one, bro? They actually think, holy shit, it's so prescient. Look at all this shit I just found out about. Oh my god. Oh no. Well, you should spend more time to read it. I shouldn't have to. I've read it plenty, bro. The Bible can't be wrong. The Bible itself says so. Exactly, Merrick. That's why it's so retarded. You didn't even read my full comment, so you're being kind of foolish. No, I didn't need to read the full comment. And yeah, I did read the full comment. I just didn't read it out loud. Forget Lord of the Rings. Tolkien wrote the Silmarillion. That is a book of mythology that has its own answer to the origin of everything in the universe. Within a different context, it could be a religion. Yeah, dude, literally, all it would take, all that it would take, literally all that it would take for the Silmarillion to be adopted as a modern religion is for some major civilization level event to happen that causes all of us to fall back into the Stone Age and causes a bunch of knowledge to be forgotten about. And then some tribe discovers the Silmarillion that's able to read English, and they fucking read through it. There you go. You've got the new religion. Now those people think they know how the world started. And what they're reading was a fucking fiction book meant to lend mythological credence to a fucking fake fictional world. Go ahead, bro. You have fun with that. It's crazy because you take the time out of your day to call somebody that R word, which is a derogatory slur used for people that have mental biz. Yeah, how about you address the substance of my argument rather than addressing the language that I use, retard? People like you are incapable utterly of addressing the things that have been said and choose to fixate exclusively on the language that they choose to use. I will have you know that I have autism. Not only do I have autism, I have a variety of autism, which used to be diagnosed as Asperger's disorder. I was segregated from normal classes throughout the entirety of my school career and was labeled a retard, a Downs kid, an autist, a mongoloid, all sorts of, terrible, awful names throughout the entirety of my elementary and middle school career. And it really didn't cut out until I got to high school, became a big old mountain giant and could start punching people in the face for it, right? But I think that long history of having that insult levied at me gives me some right to levy it. I think it gives me some right to determine whether or not it's a word offensive enough to be removed from the English vocabulary. I think it also gives me the right to say, stop speaking for us, dummy, please. I didn't vote you in. I didn't elect you king, fuck or all. Okay? I didn't fucking elect you king fucking poobah. Okay? You ain't the grand poobah over all this shit. You don't speak for every person with mental illness. Just because your retarded ass gets offended when somebody says retarded doesn't mean the rest of us do. Okay? Okay, Craig, you're just fucking annoying. Goodbye. Fucking retard. Anyway. Yeah, Noah brought 2 of everything to repopulate. Dude, That is the most retarded fucking part of Christianity. You're literally in here fucking giving me the flood myth? The dumbest fucking part of the religion? Dude, you believe for a second? How the fuck did that even work? Do you have any idea how much fucking meat a tiger eats? Any idea? Okay, let me tell you. As a kid of my parents were involved in the exotic animal trade before it became outlawed. So let me just let you in on a fucking little secret here. Tigers eat a fucking shit ton of meat. Tigers eat tons, literally. I don't even know how to illustrate it properly. They eat hundreds of pounds of meat every month for their maintenance. They're huge, and they require massive amounts of meat. You're telling me Noah kept 2 of every fucking big cat on the ark? What did he feed them? That's never mentioned in the Bible. You have to invent shit to come up with an explanation of how he fed them. How did he feed? Okay, so let's just say you do figure out a way to carry all that fucking meat, all those extra fucking animals, right? Let's say you figure out a way to do that. Okay, how do you feed the 2 elephants on board? Do you have any idea the amount of fucking vegetation an elephant needs to eat for its maintenance? You're telling me they did that for 40 fucking days? You would need a separate ark just for the fucking granary. How do you think the Grand Canyon was made, huh, bud? The Grand Canyon was formed by the action of the Colorado River eroding its silts away from over the course of millions of years. I don't.
This person just doesn't know fucking what science is.
Literally.
Like, you obviously don't know how rocks and eroding and fucking all that shit fucking works.
Right, erosion. My partner is literally a high school dropout currently working on their fucking GED. And they were able, without even looking at the chat, to figure out what you were talking about and realize that you're too retarded to know what fucking erosion is, bro. Are you serious? How was the Grand Canyon formed? What do you mean?
Grade science, dude. Like, I didn't even pass 9th grade science.
I mean, that's fucking retarded. It's like, what do you mean, how's the Grand Canyon formed? It was formed by the fucking erosion of the Colorado River over the course of millions of years. There you go. Found your answer. If the flood was true, why didn't Megalodon, Mosasaur, and Plesiosaurs thrive in the modern day? Better yet, how do you account for the massive amount of biodiverse fish life? Because if the entire planet flooded, that means saltwater and freshwater are going to mix. If saltwater and mix, freshwater fish that are not adapted to saltwater die off. And when floodwaters return to their normal level, then you're left with those saltwater fish in freshwater, then they die off. So how do you explain the fucking giant amount of biodiversity? People would say, oh, the fucking ark. Well, that's the thing, is the Bible, that's not according to the Bible, because according to the Bible, Noah only took 2 of every land animal. So he didn't take 2 of every fish, so how do you account for the fucking thousands of river fish, the thousands of species, the millions of individuals? You know, like, it's just, the numbers game is not on your side. God gave them food because there's a thing called extinction, bro. God gave them food? Well, you're inventing shit to add to the Bible. Where in the Bible does it say God gave them food? You have to invent that shit, bro. You literally have to pull that shit out of your ass. The Bible doesn't say shit about them giving them food, bro. The Bible does not address the matter of their feeding whatsoever, which is why atheists like me have been pointing out this fucking logical inconsistency for hundreds of years. They taught the lions to fast and eat tofu. alone. That dude's retarded. OMG, there's in there. Yeah, it turns out that I'm not like alone in a dark room. Bro, stop it. You're talking about us being retarded. Look at a sack of junk you're literally sitting in. Like, bro, I'm in an outbuilding. Are you telling me every outbuilding on your fucking property looks like a fucking pristine mansion? Bro, I'm in an outbuilding and I don't care who sees it. It's a fucking old ass outbuilding. Part of the way turned into like the makings of a tiny house, part of the way not. So yeah, I'm gonna keep calling you retarded because you haven't like fucking fought against my point at all. And now you're banned because Merrick is a smart, intelligent guy. For all the weird and wacky shit that's in the Bible, it still somehow manages to be boring as hell. Dude, that is one of the weirdest things about the Bible, right? It's got to be one of the most boring fucking texts ever written, and yet it's full to the fucking brim of crazy fucking bullshit. Hi, buddy. You okay? The ark wouldn't even be able to fit just half of the different species of beetles that exist today. Yeah, I mean, like, that's another fucking thing to consider. If you consider the breadth and depth of insect life, the number of different species and shit, you're still talking about tens of thousands of individuals, which all need to be fed for 42 days and all need to be supported. You know what I mean? Like, it's just absurd to think about. I mean, it's a patently mythological story. Patently mythical. Looks chill, not gonna lie, it is chill. How? Because he fed the 5,000 on there, but bro, he didn't feed the 5,000 either. That's what you're not understanding. I know that, listen, bro, I don't care if you believe in the God myth. It doesn't really make much difference to me. I'm just saying around here, we recognize the fucking truth. Just that there is no fucking Sky Daddy. I'm sorry. As much as your daddy kink might want there to be a fucking Sky Daddy, there ain't. Okay?
You know, Christians are all just traumatized adults who all have daddy issues.
Mm-hmm. They are. Their fucking real father failed them, so they want their cosmic father. I have to admit, I do like the Book of Job, but largely because of how it describes Leviathan. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty dope. Yes, he did. How's the reading the Bible kid? Bro, Mr. War Thunder, you're fucking 10. Nobody uses the constant, like, age-based language that you do unless they're fucking insecure about their age. So, Mr. War Thunder, I see you. You keep calling me kid, but the reason you don't have a fucking profile picture of your actual face is because you're fucking 10 or 11 years old. Real talk. The reason why you've got some fucking sky picture as your fucking picture is because your mom won't let you take a picture on her phone and upload that as your profile picture. Go ahead, Mr. War Thunder. You report all you want, buddy. You have fun with that. Bro, I don't... This monetized, bro. And by the way, calling you dumb for something you believe, not banned by the terms of service. Sorry, bud. Wishing violence on you? Now that's, that's a horse of a different color. But I didn't do that. I'm still stuck on God loves us, gave us a son, but I still endure the punishment of one hungry chick. Yeah, that's another fucking fundamental problem, of the Bible, right? Is that God is so, right? Somehow God is painted as all merciful, and yet he exacts eternal punishment on all of humanity for original sin. That's why you can't trust a Christian's idea of benevolence. That's why you cannot trust a Christian when they say something is good. That's why when Christians tell you about their fucking objective morality and how good it is and how benevolent they are and all this shit, that's why you literally cannot trust them. Because benevolence to a Christian is letting thousands of people die in a flood to control the moral rectitude of the planet you just made. Benevolence in the mind of a Christian is creating an eternal torture chamber where people are burned alive for eternity, where their worm dieth not and the pain never ends. Benevolence to a Christian is letting the homeless sleep outside rather than building them shelters. Benevolence to a Christian is letting children die rather than feeding their stomachs. Benevolence to a Christian is letting human beings kill each other time and time again. Benevolence to a Christian is killing you, killing themselves, killing everything around them. Benevolence to a Christian is taking over this fucking planet and subjugating every last human being and animal for their purposes. The Christian idea of benevolence is neither benevolent nor good. It is evil. It is codified, repugnant, evil. You cannot trust their moral opinions because they are based on a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of benevolence and the nature of good. You have been reported to the internet police. Oh God! I know, right? Because there's sin in our flesh and you should get baptized. So yeah, dude, you have this fucking belief that you've been raised up into where you're dirty from birth. You believe that you're flawed from birth. See, this is the benevolence of the Christians that I was just talking about.
See,
Benevolence.
I got baptized, but look at me. For technically, to your extent, I've technically sinned, and I have the devil inside me for being sexual. So, most Christians you talk to, like, there are good Christians out there, but you got these Christians out here that you talk to that will say something about sexual assault basically being a sin and it's your fault and talkative and
I know. But this is exactly the kind of benevolence I mean. It's like benevolence to a Christian is creating a system where everyone is shamed just for the nature of their existence. Just for existing, they're wrong. Just for existing. And yeah, of course Christians think that being raped is a fucking, or being sexually assaulted either way, of course they think that that's a sin, and that the weight of that sin falls upon the victim, because in their minds everyone is sinful, and everything bad that happens is a punishment from God, and everything good that happens is a reward from God. They've got an explanation for everything. I've got an explanation for everything except for why we can reliably date rocks on the Earth's fucking crust to millions of years ago. They've got a bullshit answer for everything except why God never chooses to speak to anyone anymore or to light any bushes on fire. They've got a bullshit answer for everything except for the questions that really matter. Okay, buddy, I don't know why Christianity is top 10 hated religion, but why are you not saying crap about other religions? I don't know. Maybe because other religions haven't completely fucked up the country I live in and created a fucking nightmarish hellscape where people can't get health care, can't get decent jobs that pay well, can't get can't get any public transportation in their city because the fucking lobby and the industry lobbies against that, you know?
I mean,
Like,
and the other thing too is like you got all these Christians in office dictating whether or not abortion should be a thing. Listen, abortion should be a thing because you got people out here who financially can't take care of a kid. You got people out here who mentally can't take care of a kid. You got people out here who got sexually assaulted and got pregnant. And you got these Christians in office basically dictating a woman's body, too, so.
yeah, and like Merrick just pointed out too, that like, you know, nobody from another religion came in here and argued with me. If you were a Muslim and you wanted to come at me, then I would be coming at you about Islam. Would you like to hear me criticize Islam? See, the irony of it is that Christians love it when you criticize other religions, because then they feel like they can join in with you, and they can feel like, you know, they're like, we've got common ground with the atheists. But then you turn that ire towards them, where it rightly belongs also, and then they get all sensitive and butthurt about it. Sorry, bud. My principles don't end at your doorstep.
Like, other religions aren't forcing their religion on you. Other religions aren't fucking saying that there's only one God and that every other religion is not real and that, you know, all this other shit. Like,
there are other religions that do that, but they don't exist here. Did you have more to say? No? What did my religion do to you? There's a thing in America to have freedom of religion. Freedom of religion also means freedom from religion. And freedom of religion means freedom to criticize religion. I'm not an instrument of the government, so me telling you that I think your religion is a fucking self-serving, selfish pile of deluded bullshit has no bearing on any of your legal rights. I have not infringed on your First Amendment right whatsoever by simply using mine. See, that's the fucking double-edged sword of freedom of speech and freedom of religion, right? You have every freedom to come in here or in any other public forum and preach your religion all day long. I have no right to stop you. But I have the right to set up a soapbox on the opposing side of the sidewalk and shout you down. And keep shouting you down until either you've left or the crowd has roundly turned against you. And you generally leave after that. That's freedom of speech. It may not be a very... You know, here's the sad thing about freedom of speech, right? Conservatives love freedom of speech until they actually have to start fucking dealing with it. Because the fact of it is that in the actually open and free marketplace of ideas, conservatism never wins. Christianity and old-timey religion and that type of bullshit never wins. Nobody... If you're actually allowed to freely and openly express ideas, the natural conclusions that will be came to by the vast amount of people are going to be humanist, secular conclusions. I don't know what else you want from me. That's just fucking verifiably true.
you know, honestly, can I say, the Christians that I've noticed that are usually assholes are usually the ones that go to church a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Like,
they're fucking ingratiated in it all day long.
I say that because, like, Jesse believes in God. You know that. And...
Yeah, but he's against organized religion, which makes him a cool person, right? In my book.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Because, like, listen, as a queer person, I don't date a lot of people who believe in God. And the reason being is because, like, most of them will talk about how I'm a sin and all this other fucking shit, and
how your lifestyle is sinful, how our, relationship is sinful, how I'm, sinful for being trans. It's like, nobody wants to be around that shit, right? I feel like that's what you're driving at.
basically, yeah.
Freedom of religion is also grounds for, yes, exactly. It also allows for people to live a totally secular life. Exactly. I choose to live a mostly secular life because up until this point, I have found very little utility in believing in the God of the Bible. In fact, I have found my attempts to do so just elevated my fear and did not do pleasing things to either my mental health or my philosophical life. Okay, we'll see you on the left side of God, and I don't want to say I told you so. Bro, this is just evidence in my mind of the punishment kink that I think a lot of Christians have. A lot of Christians, in their mind, their whole conversion thing, some of it's done because churches influence them to do it, and it's you can have like a team building exercise. But I genuinely think a lot of this, like, I'm going to convert somebody online, is because they want to either get the lame cop out, like, yes, yeah, you know what, you're right, I really got to think about that, blah, 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 and have that person, feign agreeing with them so they'll shut the fuck up about it, right? They want either that or they want my reaction so that they can say at the end of it, well, you know what? You're going to be punished in hell. You're going to go to hell, and you're going to be sent down from God, and I'm going to be watching you from heaven, laughing my ass off at your burning corpse. It's like these people just have a fucking torture kink, bro. They just have a punishment and torture kink. They just want to see the world fucking beaten. Genuine question, how do you account for comparative mythology that shares many of the same concepts as the Bible? The flood, original sin, hell, the death of Leviathan. Mary, I can just tell by the the complex nature of that question. You have asked a question about 2 pay grades above this dude's level. Either he will not answer or his answer will be laughably stupid. See, I would be answer. This is why Christians need to shut the fuck up about their Christian bullshit. Because you know what? Me as an atheist could answer that question like that. So fucking easily. But I know this Christian retard is going to have such a fucking difficult time answering this question just because of the conversation I've had with them. I know they're not going to be able to. They're not even going to get what you mean when you say comparative mythology. Literally, they're going to have to Google that phrase before they even answer your question. That's why it's taking them so long. Christians need to shut the fuck up about this because the vast majority of them are not intelligent enough to argue it. Leave this fucking evangelical shit, leave this evangelizing shit, leave this televangelism shit to the fucking professionals. Leave it to the fucking Pat Robertsons. Leave it to the fucking, leave it to the Joel Osteens, Leave it to the fucking, what's that fucker's name? Kenneth, what's his name? Oh, whatever. The ones. Leave it to those dudes too, because y'all are not fucking making a great impression. They're not sending their best. I argue with Christians all the time, and most of them, they're terrible, just terrible. They're not sending their best, folks, and maybe some of them are good people. Releasing a dove to find land, a brother killing another, leading to a divide in humanity. I can go on and on. Is that just all pagan nonsense? Yeah, like, that's the thing. It's like, the Bible is replete with references to older fucking works because it is itself a composite work, right? These
Christians that are in your comments or that go to church and stuff are the same ones who had ancestors who were killing innocent women just because, you know, half of them weren't even witches and all this other shit. And then you got the people who were witches but weren't actually doing anything wrong, but like, you know, they kill innocent women anyway.
Yeah, dude, like, I think I get what you're saying. You're saying, like, their ideology on this is basically, and I agree with you, it's a descendant, like, it's a direct descendant of the Puritan mindset of, you know, like, the early fucking 1800s, well, not even the early 1800s, honestly, the early 1700s, and all the way up to the early 1800s, right? It's a continuation of those Puritan ideals, 100%. And yes, people like this would have gladly burned witches in an era where witch burning was allowed. I mean, hell, witch burning is called for in the Bible, I'm pretty sure. And, I mean, this dude is a biblical literalist, so would have to support witch burning. I mean, it's just fucked. And, you know, I was thinking about something too. I was talking about the other day how I wish people would stop looking at the Bible as some empirical source of actual information and start looking at the Bible for what it is. The Bible is a collection of mythological stories, some of which may have some remote bearing in fact, many of which are simply retellings through a Jewish lens, or an ancient Jewish lens, you might say, of older stories that had been passed on by Semitic peoples for thousands of years. It has elements strewn throughout of other pagan religions, some earlier, some later, some of varying, you know, varying regions and everything, because Christianity, after its wide adoption by Rome, it began to be used as a tool of oppression. As part of that, a lot of elements of local religions were slowly but surely worked into Christianity to make it more workable to the masses. As a result, modern Christianity, number one, bears very little resemblance to the type of Christianity that probably would have been being practiced by the very first Christians. It bears no resemblance to it whatsoever. Number two, this means that all of the stories in the Bible will ultimately always trickle down to stories other people wrote, stories that predate the Bible, stories that predate our common understanding of it, stories that predate the modern assemblage of it, right? And, you know, like, that's why I think the Bible really should be looked at as a literary work that informs, I think, quite a lot about humanity's development, I guess, over the last 2,000 years, given that it was used as such a potent tool of oppression. I think that it informs a lot about... Sorry, I was trying to get out to catch up. I don't think it touched any of it. But anyway, I think it informs a lot about the way human beings use and reuse stories. I think it's a good literature work. But... Oh, is he here? Yeah, I think the Bible should be looked at more like that, honestly. Honestly, good argument, man. I'm gonna pray for you. Sorry if offended. No, you weren't. It's not offensive. I just like to make impassioned arguments about this shit because I care about it.
Don't mind me.
Granted, it's a bit of a loaded, unfair question on my part, but it is something that a person of any religion should consider and ponder. I agree. I 100% agree. For example, comparative mythology becomes really fascinating when you look into chaos Kampf motif and Proto-Indo-European myths. Motif is how you pronounce that. Yeah, I'll have to look into some of the pie myths. Same, bro. Love good old arguments. Yeah, me too. You did threaten to report me for no reason, which was lame, but whatever. I guess I can forgive that. YouTube reports don't really mean shit these days anyway. Not unless you're monetized. And even then, a lot of times it just means your video gets age restricted. Is he here already?
No, I'm just outside.
Oh, okay, buddy. Nothing. You're gonna be cold out there.
No, I'm fucking warm.
Okay.
Ah, shit, I'm ready. Can you give me my hoodie?
Oh, that was BS. Well, I figured it was. That's why I didn't take it too seriously. I mean, even if it wasn't, ultimately, what can I do to stop you, right? And I know that I know that at least one of my streams did get reported. I had one that got like 5,000 views that got age restricted, but I was smoking weed through most of it, so I guess I can't blame them. I wish more people would have watched that for longer though, because that video alone, if just 2/3 of those people would have watched that video all the way through, watched that stream all the way through, dude, I would have more than made my required watch hours to monetize. So, oh well. But yeah, that was a fun argument. Probably gonna have to be getting off here soon, but I don't know exactly when. We'll see. See ya, gang. We'll see ya. It was fun, Mr. War Thunder. And maybe next time you're around, you can shoot me. I forget what War Thunder uses to add friends and shit, but like your what is it? Like your gamer tag on War Thunder? I don't know what they call it, but I've been playing War Thunder since the beta release. I think it was in beta testing still, or maybe very late alpha. I'm not even sure, but it was a very, very strange game when I first started playing it. Honestly, War Thunder now, very tight, very fun to play game, even on a lower end system. War Thunder, when it first came out, was hilariously bad. Hilariously bad. I mean, there was some cool things about it. Like there was always the fact that War Thunder features realistic hitboxes and shit like that. So if you know anything about tanks and you're playing War Thunder, you'll do better than a person who doesn't know shit or fuck all about tanks, because you'll know where in general to aim for. You'll know to always aim center mass if you're aiming at a tank that's I can't think of the fucking term that they use for it, but when it's basically parallel to you, right? When its side is facing you, one of its sides, you just aim center mass, and you stand a pretty good chance of detonating an ammo rack or setting off an explosion in the crew compartment that kills everybody. But somebody that doesn't know much about tanks, right? Somebody that is just like playing a video game that looks cool might shoot at the front of the tank, not knowing that, like just thinking, well, the front of a vehicle is probably where its motor is, not realizing that back is where the engine is on most tanks, right? Like, it's one of those games that kind of, it really does kind of benefit you from learning more about the subject matter. And they make it really realistic in that way. And that's always been an aspect of the game. They've gotten way better at it since I first started playing, but that's always been an aspect, and that's probably what I liked about it most, was the fact that, like, War Thunder is a weird fucking game, dude. Because it doesn't have hit points, there'll be times, it's happened to me, even in the modern versions, it's happened to me a few times where I'll be in a heavy tank of some kind, a KV-1 or a KV-2 or something like that, and somebody takes out your engine, right? But they don't set it on fire. They just fucking take it out, right? Somebody takes out your engine, you're repairing that. And then somebody takes out your bow gunner, and now you're fucking having to swap him out. And then somebody takes out your track, and now you're having to swap that out. But nobody's managed to take out your gunner and your loader yet, so you're still swiveling the turret around, finding targets, taking people out. You're still, like, racking up kills as people are shooting different parts at you. Nobody's managing to land that one pristine shot they need into the side of the turret to really fucking do you in. And so you just sit there absorbing shots from all sides. You start to feel like the crew at the end of Fury, and you're just like holding off wave after wave. You die with a bunch of corpses around you. It's great. I know what you mean. It's better even though there's still some shit that makes no sense. Yeah. I mean, there's still some fucking weird Gaijin logic, bro. I mean, that's just... what are you gonna do? You know, it's the snail. Can you really expect anything else? I do think War Thunder tries harder to make sense than most games in its position, though. Oh god, no! That was a very Homer Simpson-esque fucking yell. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Oh god! Saved it. Yup. Saved it at the last fucking moment, bro. You know it. Dude, y'all. Nice save, yes. No, I saved at work too. But dude, this shit, y'all probably can't even see it. Dude, I don't know for sure, okay? I don't know for sure. But this smells, tastes, and feels like some Granddaddy perp. And looks like some Granddaddy perp. I thought that shit was a butt plug. You think bro, motherfucker thought I was sitting here talking this whole time. Been talking for an hour. Motherfucker thought I was sitting here talking with a butt plug in my hand this whole time. No, not a butt plug. I don't think you'd want to use something that's made of glass as a butt plug. Probably not. What does a good Christian know about butt plugs anyway? Come on now. What, you don't sit out and stream with your dildos and shit sitting out for everybody to see? No, Merrick, that particular e-girl habit has not taken me by storm yet. No, sadly not. Maybe I should. Of course, then I'd have to get some sex toys, you know? It's funny, because I'm pretty ready to speak in defense of kinky-ass motherfuckers, but I'm not myself all that kinky a motherfucker. I like some kinky shit, but I don't, I've never been a big collector of sex toys. I've maybe had, 2 or 3 in my whole life, so I would have to get some in order to have them sitting out and about. Maybe I could make a mural with them. Oh my god, dude. Set up a fucking donation box, right? Have people send me your dicks, please. I need all the multicolored dildos I can. The weirder it looks, the better. And then just make a mural with them. Make Van Gogh's Starry Night, but entirely out of penises. I think old Vinny Boy would appreciate that one. Same. I definitely have some alternative taste, so to speak, but I've never felt the need to have sex toys. Yeah, same. It's just never been like a... never seemed like that all that interesting in Enterprise to me. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of penetration myself. So I would be mostly using them on other people. But I guess that's just as good an incentive to get some as any. Try to fit all at the same time. Dude, I don't know. Bro, I gotta be real with you. Most human beings can fit one. People that can fit two are an anomaly. Okay? I think having a fleshlight would just be weird. I can tell you. Or should I tell you? I probably shouldn't, huh? Well, I'll just say this much. Never had a fleshlight. Did have a fake pussy at one time. It's better than a hand, but also not quite as good. I don't know how to explain it. I really just don't know how to explain it. But I feel the same way about it that I've heard a lot of women talk about dildos. Like, it's like better than a dick in some ways, but worse in others. If you can fit 3, you're probably not human. Yeah, if you can fit more than 2, you're officially fucking an alien from planet Zordon, bro. If you can fit 3 penetrative objects anywhere in your body. Anyway, I'm gonna get off here. Bye, y'all.